Today I want to talk about two microphones, the fifine Tank6, which is here, and the fifine K688, which is here. Now, the Tank6, recently fifine reached out and asked if I would do a review of the Tank6 and provided me with this microphone. There was no expectation that I would say anything that wasn't true about the microphone or to sell it up bigger than it was. They actually always require that I give an honest opinion and give them honest feedback so they can always improve their products. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with fifine, but you know they do a really good job with their products, and I've really enjoyed them over the years. Now the Tank6 does come in this box with a USB cable and the mounting bracket so you can mount it to an arm or a desktop stand, but does not come with the arm or the desktop stand. I just happen to have the fifine arm that I'm using for it right now. That actually came with the K688. So don't forget, if you do purchase it, you would need to provide the arm, but it does come with the USB-C cable. The other cable it doesn't come with because it is a USB-C and XLR microphone, so it can do either. It does not come with the XLR cable. In fact, I don't believe most microphones come with the XLR cables. I just happen to have extra cables just in case, so I was able to connect my microphone. The other thing that the fifine comes with is it actually has volume adjustments for the microphone, as well as for the monitoring headset that you can plug into the microphone. And it also has a mute button at the top in case you need to mute it. Setup is pretty easy, especially if you're doing USB-C. It's simply plug and play, select the microphone in your computer, and you're good to go. What I've done is I've connected the microphone to a Vocaster 2 using XLR instead of USB-C, and that way the sound quality seems to be a lot better. Now I am not running it into my computer, I'm running it straight into my camera so I can get sound that way. So actually both microphones are running through the Vocaster 2 and into my camera, and I can select which ones are playing using the Vocaster hub. Now when you first get the fifine Tank6, you're going to be surprised on the build of this microphone. This is one hefty microphone. It is hefty and sturdy. I mean, I can't see you ever needing another microphone once you purchase this one, unless you find a way to drop it, kick it, throw it in the bathtub. But for normal use, I don't see that you're going to have a problem with this microphone ever. It is built well. Now, that being said, when I go over to the K688, the K688 microphone is very lightweight. I can see why it needs a shock mount to come with it because it is not going to stay in place very easily. Not that the sound won't be as good, but just the build quality itself isn't as quality as the Tank6. Literally, it feels like a tank. So they named this microphone very well. So now that we talked about some of the features and what comes in the box, let's talk about the sound. And like I said, we're recording straight into the camera, so it's going to use the camera's audio in order to record. So both of them are running through the camera, so it's not like one is going to have a better sound simply because of how it's being recorded. So right now you're listening to the fifine Tank6, which is the one that we're reviewing today, and this is the sound. So there's no enhancements, there's no leveling up, there's no changing whatsoever. You're just going to hear the straight up sound exactly the way that it is, so that way you can get a good idea of what it'll sound like recorded in your camera or playing on YouTube or other audio sources. So this is the Tank6 without any enhancements, and now I'll switch over. So now you're listening to the fifine K688. Both of these are dynamic microphones, but this is the sound quality. And again, this microphone I'm not using any enhancements or anything to adjust the voice levels, the sound quality or anything like that. It's a straight out of microphone. Now, generally speaking, you are going to want to get the microphones closer because they are dynamic microphones. So really they should be about this close. Usually 4 to 6 inches within within your mouth, so that way you get a really good clean signal. Now you can get closer if you want, or you can pull back and go further away if you want, but that's really going to adjust what your sound quality is like and how much ambient noise you're going to get when you're making your recording. So this is the K688 and its sound quality. And one more, I'm going to go ahead and turn this one off. And now this is the K6 Tank6 microphone, and this is the sound quality of that. Like I said, neither one enhanced. This is just what their sound quality is like. Can you hear a difference? Is it really that big of a difference, or would either one do well? Now, I will say this. So this is again, the Tank6. I will say this about the sound quality. This one does state that it is crisp and clear, which means you're going to have a sharper sound to it, to the microphone, whereas the K688 is going to be softer and more mellow. Part of the reason for that is that the K688 does come with a foam cover, which would muffle the sound a little bit, but it'll also get rid of all of those plosives, the P's and the T's and the S's that tend to spike the sound when you're actually recording. So again, Tank6 and K688. So K688 and Tank6. So you'll have to decide which one sounds better to you. I'm usually not that comfortable being this close to the microphones. And if you're trying to find a microphone that you're trying to have out of the frame, then neither one of these is really going to be the microphone for you. So dynamic microphones are meant to be close. And they don't require phantom power. I don't know if everybody's aware of what phantom power is, but condenser microphones sometimes require phantom power, which means they need to be powered to boost the audio signal. Dynamics don't need to. And that's something that you should be aware of. The other thing that was a quirky thing, or not a quirky thing, but something that you should know when you purchase these microphones, if you're using a Vocaster or some type of audio equipment where you're using the XLR portion, once you plug in the XLR, your mute buttons, which would normally light up, either green for meaning the microphone's on, or red meaning the microphone is off. When you use the XLR cables and are using software, like I'm using the Vocaster Hub, the Vocaster Hub has the mute, or the actual deck itself has the mute, and those lights don't work because you don't mute them from the microphone, use them from the hub or from the actual deck. So just so you know, in case you're using it, you won't freak out and say, hey, my mute button's not working. That's exactly why you don't see that mute button. So right now, we had audio samples from the K688, and we had audio samples from the Tank6. Right now I'm using the Tank6 and not the K688. But I just wanted to go over some of the, what it would sound like if you do use enhancement. So I can actually turn on the enhancement. And now the enhancement's working for the Vocaster, which means the sound quality. I've edited the sound quality. I've changed the profile of the sound, not drastically, but just enough to give it a little bit more depth and reverb. So that way my voice sounds a little bit different, a little bit deeper. For me, it sounds a little bit smoother. Now I also have the K688. It's also set up the same way with the same adjustments. So let me mute this one, and I'll bring up the K688, and we'll add those enhancements. Okay, so this is the K688 without any enhancements, and give me a second, I'll turn on those enhancements. And now those enhancements are taking place. So this is adjusting the sound for the K688. So now they were both been enhanced. You get the sound quality from either one and what they sound like. And again, these are driven through the XLR cables, not the USB-C cables, through the Vocaster 2 and straight into the camera. So it is using the camera audio processors as well. So K688 is what you're listening to now, enhanced. And now you're listening to the Tank6 enhanced. So you have an idea of what these sound like, either with or without enhancement. I think that for the most part, I prefer it to not be enhanced. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these off. I believe the sound quality is better without it being enhanced. There are some more adjustments you can do within the computer if you're using a Vocaster 2 or the Vocaster Hub. But on the microphones themselves, you're going to have an audio gain knob and a headphone jack knob. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments below. What do you think? Is this a microphone that you'd be interested in purchasing? I like it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to use it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the K688, but I have quite a few microphones, which I should probably cover one day and just have you guys listen to them all, just to give you an idea of what the products are like. All in all, I think this is a great microphone. It's probably going to last me the rest of my life. It was easy to install, works great with the Vocaster, and is built so well. It literally earned the name Tank because it feels substantial and heavy, and I really, really enjoy it. Fifine, I think you did a great job with this microphone. I think the sound is great. I think that having a microphone that you can use close to your voice to eliminate room noise, which in this room it is not treated, so there is a little bit of echo and stuff, but it's not the fault of the microphone. All in all, you know what? I really like this product. I think you did a great job. The build quality is good. The sound quality is good. I appreciate you sharing this microphone with me and allowing me the opportunity to review it. I think that if anybody watching the video is interested in this type of microphone, a dynamic desktop microphone, I highly recommend this. Or the K688, but I think the Tank 6 does a really good job. I think it's going to be my go-to microphone when I'm doing TikTok lives or YouTube videos in studio. I think that's what I'm going to be using. So great job, Fifine. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. I hope that this helps. I hope this helps you make a purchasing decision and that you enjoy this microphone as much as I do. It is very budget friendly and really worth the investment. This is something I think that you will keep the lifetime of your creative journey. I encourage you to, if you're on the fence, go ahead and make the purchase. I think that you'll be happy that you did. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. I will consider doing a full-on microphone review of all the microphones I have, which are many. And you may see that in a later video. And if there's any videos or questions that you might have, please leave them in the comments below, as well as don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also follow me on my TikTok channel, which is Poppin' Fresh Panda. I do lives there. I share my photos there. So you might want to jump on there and say hi there as well. All right, everybody, you guys have a good day. I'll see you next time.